The Metaverse is emerging as the next big technology platform and promises to be the next frontier for human experiences on the internet. Into the Metaverse covers companies, technologies, and trends that are bringing these promises to life. Join creator and host Jonathan Ross Friedman, founder and CEO of Super Social, as he interviews the brilliant minds that are building, shaping, and investing in the Metaverse.
Welcome to Into the Metaverse. It's Tuesday. With me today is Lisa Bernard. Lisa, how are you doing?
I'm doing well, thanks. How are you? Do you have a good Thanksgiving?
We did. It was long and fun and, a bit chilly in Columbus, Ohio. A lot of sports events, college football, NFL, NBA, but all in all was pretty nice.
As I told you, my son is at Ohio State, so that was a bit of a devastating loss, but next year.
Indeed. I can't say it was a good Saturday, but hey, there's always next year. So let's definitely root out for that. So we got a packed conversation for today. What's in focus?
Well, absolutely, Jan. Since we spoke, we had all the chaos at OpenAI. You and I haven't discussed that yet. Of course, Sam Altman fired, then joins Microsoft, then back to OpenAI as CEO, and the board is replaced. And we started to learn more and more about the tensions there and what was actually going on. We've also learned about this research project called QStar, which I find fascinating. It seems there were researchers who could be able now for AI to solve math problems, which I'm realizing is a step further from just the language and just the predictive models. And so there is some fear among some that once AI can solve math, it becomes more of a threat to humanity, to be dramatic. So there was this tension there, and it seems the commercialization team won out over this sort of more cautious research academic team. And I want to know your thoughts on QStar and this commercialization triumph, so to speak.
I mean, so much has been said about the topic, but it continues to be at the forefront of media covering tech. Probably everything we've heard and read about is all true to some extent, right? Were there things that board felt lack of confidence in whatever Sam Altman was doing? Probably true, given what we're learning about QStar, even though it's now noted, at least in the New York Times, I believe, that the board was not aware yet of QStar, even though the chief scientist of the company is on the board. So I find it hard to believe, at least he knew about it. And if Sam Altman knew about it and Greg Brockman knew about it, well, that's already half of the board, right? So was there a lack of confidence in Sam Altman's? May or may not be true. Certainly the board could have handled it differently. They did not vocalize any issues they had in explaining why they fired the CEO. That ultimately backlashed on them. As we saw, almost more than 90% of the employees of OpenAI essentially threatening to resign. So, let's not get into too much of that gossip work of what has really happened between the board and Sam Altman. To your point, though, I think what's interesting is what is the underlying concerns that OpenAI has as an organization, at least from the board perspective, and what does it mean for us, for people, for public, for companies that rely on the evolution of that technology. And if what people are reporting is true, which OpenAI has made a giant step forward in developing artificial general intelligence, starting with this big leap forward of a AI that is able to solve basic math problems. I mean, the world revolves around math and physics, right? And so I can imagine if an AI learns how to solve basic math problem and can grow from there, that obviously means that we are now looking at a much more sophisticated, to your point, AI, rather than just language and predictive models and large language models. And so I think it's really, really exciting on the one hand. What is that technology that they are unlocking with this, project codenamed QStar? And then I think on the flip side, how the new board that is now being appointed, and I think it's all being still baked in, right? I don't think that's something that has happened yet. I think Sam Altman hasn't really officially returned as CEO. So it seems like it's all still pretty much in upheaval mode. But alongside this invention and what it means for this next leap forward of in the process to get to AGI, I think the role of that new board, chaired by Brett Taylor, former co-CEO of Salesforce, former chair of Twitter, a very experienced board operator and a tech entrepreneur, it's going to be really interesting to see how this incident evolves OpenAI as an organization. Are they going to be able to continue to have a leadership in the market like they have so far? And what does it mean for these initiative like QStar that apparently was unlocking something pretty major en route to an AGI?
Yeah. Oh, so much. It's another to be continued. But let's shift to creators and community because lots of exciting developments, especially as we approach year end and there's sort of these analyses of how these past few months have gone. So starting with Fortnite OG, Fortnite relaunching the original, and my kids, out of nostalgia, went racing back to it. They'd ignored Fortnite for a couple of years. They're a little older, and it really made a huge hit. About I saw 45 million users in a day. Um, this plus your analysis of Roblox end of year, it seems video games are growing. The desire for them and virtual worlds seems to be on the rise as the year ends. Kids are asking for subscriptions and digital currency for their holiday list. Is that all happening?
Well, I think the gaming industry at large, I think, has been witnessing a really tough 2023. It seems like the industry, the more traditional industry, if it's AAA mobile gaming, quite a few companies have let go. Major layoffs have been made. Significant layoff people amount of people have been let go. We just saw ByteDance essentially shutting down its gaming division as part of winding down a big part of that division called Nuverse. So it seems like that the more traditional, the more established gaming industry as witnessing a bit of a challenging 2023 after wild 2020, 2021, 2022, the three COVID years. On the flip side, you have Roblox growing faster than ever before, 70 million daily active users. Fortnite and UEFN have witnessed major success with the recent map, which is still part of Fortnite, the game. It was less about Fortnite Creative, but Fortnite Creative is obviously continuing to be at the forefront of how people think about the category of virtual worlds. And so it's interesting how in the wider space of 3D, we have to remember that also the gaming industry is not just 3D. It's not just virtual world. You have mobile gaming, casual gaming, many games of which are not even 3D. And so I think it helps separate between those two big things, the gaming industry at large, of which there is an overlap with Roblox for sure, and with Fortnite Creative. But I do believe that Roblox is an example and a category leader of what I refer to as kind of these 3D social platforms where games are a part of that. But the reason people come in is really to play games but socialize with their friends. It's almost like the next iteration of social games, social gaming. And it's almost like its own little subcategory of the consumer internet, really, not just gaming. So I expect that as we move towards the end of the year, we're going to continue to see Roblox growing. We're going to hopefully see recovery at the beginning of 2024 of the larger gaming industry. But I am very bullish that this category of virtual world in 3D is only becoming more and more important and relevant, for young people, for kids, for youth, for young adults. And as part of that also, we're going to continue and see young people demanding and asking for virtual currencies that they can use as they spend time in these virtual platforms.
And in addition to that, we saw that this 19-year-old college student in England created a marketplace on Roblox that has been absolutely booming. He's a 19-year-old in college, and he even received an award for it that beat out, I saw Gucci and class. And this is the momentum, right? It's the younger people. I think he sells accessories and fashion. This is where the future is going.
Well, I think what's a great example about this creator who essentially built almost like a virtual shopping mall inside Roblox where users can come in and, purchase and select different items and so on and so forth. I think it's part of this bigger trend of you are seeing a next generation of developers and creators coming into platforms like Roblox. And that ultimately provides opportunities for really anyone, people like Munib, who created that virtual store, to have an idea, prototype it pretty quickly, launch it on Roblox, and see how it grows and how the community receives the innovation. And I think he's seen tremendous success with the Roblox platform, launching something that obviously resonates with the community. And yes, I think Roblox is an example of a platform where you can be a Fortune 500 brand and launch something, and that's great. You can also be a 15-year-old or an 18-year-old or a 19-year-old in a garage and launch something on Roblox and be hugely successful as well. And I think that's the magic of these next generation platform like Roblox, where anyone, anywhere, at any age can create something that suddenly becomes hugely successful, not just with brands. And we've seen it before. We've seen it with YouTube, and we've seen it with Shopify, where small brands can grow in Shopify platform and become huge. So I definitely believe that Roblox is a really unique in the sense that it created these environments where young people can really suddenly build not only something but also actually build businesses on top of their virtual innovation. And what this young person has done is remarkable. In a very short time, out of his dorm room in Birmingham in the UK, he built a virtual shopping mall that more than 1 billion play sessions have been made, and many, many purchases of virtual avatar goods have been made. So I think that's a great example of how there is a bottom up innovation that a platform like Roblox enables. And I think that's what people are looking at. They're looking at where is this innovation is coming from, the platforms, what platforms people want to stay on, and how do you ensure that this platform can continue and evolve to become essentially a big marketplace of creativity and innovation, both from individuals and also from brands.
So, speaking of marketplace, shifting gears to a big lawsuit in the news. This is Epic Games and Google locked in a lawsuit over monopoly accusations. Epic accusing the Android operating system of being a fake open platform and wanting to see, more revenue and giving less of it over to Google. What do you think of the implications of this lawsuit? It's a pretty, big decision that'll come down.
I mean, look, if anything we've learned from Epic's efforts is to really go and put a stand on what they believe that should be an open marketplace, and essentially claiming that when they have application inside the App Store and the Google Store, they want to be able to offer their own store inside those app stores. And they're fighting. They're fighting against two of the biggest technology companies in the world. It's admirable. To tell you that I think they're going to win and get everything they want, the result of the outcomes with what transpired in court with Apple and Epic show us that it may not be, that relevant for Epic to win the case. But nonetheless, it's important that there are companies like Epic Games that fight the fight and are trying to prevent from, big tech to completely dominate these ecosystems. And if they're successful, it will make these ecosystems even more attractive as a business opportunity for many more businesses and creators. So, I wish them luck. Let's see how it plays out at court.
Well, speaking of dominating, Nvidia has this amazing domination right now, and it's $1.2 trillion. Amazing. I mean, all that power in one company.
Look, I mean, Nvidia is a 30-year overnight success. It's incredible to see how they've reached $1 trillion valuation. It just shows really their position in the marketplace and the ability to build consistently valuable products and technologies for that are going to be relevant for the companies of tomorrow who want to adopt AI. And they are being very smart with how they're creating their architecture of the business and stepping into data centers now. There is a really phenomenal episodes on a podcast that I love called Acquired, where the host of the podcast really spent hours talking about the Nvidia machine, even one episode interviewing Nvidia CEO and founder Jensen Huang. So I highly recommend for our audience to go and check it out. Anyone who is curious, like you, Lisa, about Nvidia's dominance. But look, companies have been dominant before. I think as long as they continue with their innovation and building on the opportunity that they introduce for themselves in the marketplace, it's going to be really interesting. And it's also really interesting to keep an eye on what they're doing with their Omniverse, which is their sort of metaverse effort around the industrial metaverse and enabling digital twins creation that mimics real life, being able to simulate factories of the future and predicting how these factories would operate, for example, before even building these factories. So again, why 3D is such a big transformation, not just in the consumer world, but also in the enterprise world and in the industrial world. And I think NVIDIA is playing in all of those fields, which is pretty remarkable.
Pretty remarkable. Let's end on something fun. Gucci and Christie's pairing up and really diving deep into this art and technology marriage. And some of the projects are absolutely beautiful. And I think people are responding to it. You know, when it's art and it's creativity and embracing these new technologies rather than being afraid of, you know, Dali and Midjourney, these artists embracing it and these major brands celebrating it. The MoMA has this tremendous AI exhibit, you know, in their lobby. I saw it. It was amazing. I think this moves us forward in terms of acceptance.
Well, I think there is definitely companies and brands, and Gucci's at the forefront, really at the bleeding edge of next generation technologies. And it's great to see how they continuously experiment and build on next generation technologies. They've dubbed into NFTs. They are on Roblox. You know, we are very proudly, you know, their partner on the Roblox platform. They are continuing to launch on other platforms from Sandbox to Zepeto. And it's just really, really great to see the efforts that they're making across the ecosystem of platforms and technologies. And it shows how bold they are and how much they want to be at the forefront. You know, I'm sure they're going to do things related to generative AI. Generative art is one of the things you've mentioned now with the auction house. All of that is to say, we're going to continue to see brands like Gucci and more pushing the boundaries, and it's really powerful. I think brands play a really instrumental role in helping to bring attention to new technologies and popularize the use of them. And kudos to Gucci for pushing the boundaries on that.
Yeah, it's really tremendous. Jan, thank you so much. I look forward to seeing you again next week.
Thank you, Lisa. I'm sure we're going to have a lot to talk about, but in the meantime, let's build some great stuff.
Yeah, let's go for it. Take care.
All right. See you later.
Thank you so much for listening to this week's episode of Into the Metaverse. We hope you learned a lot and explored new aspects of the metaverse.